Welcome to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, the official Monster Jam podcast. I'm Scott Jordan. We continue rolling through series champions here at Monster Jam, and my guest this week just won his 6th series championship. I'm talking about the champion of Stadium Championship Series, East Gravediggers, Tyler Menninga. So let's go to the Great Clips hotline to welcome in Tyler. Tyler, welcome back to Inside Monster Jam. Congratulations on a great year.
What's up, man? Thank you. I had a lot of fun this year, and it was fun being on the East Coast Stadium Tour for the first time, being with a bunch of new drivers that I haven't been with on tour before, and we had a blast this year.
I'm sure it's challenging when you have to face off with new drivers, but you made it look so easy. We're going to talk about your rivalry with Tristan England this season and a little bit later, but what is the biggest challenge for you when you step into a field with new competitors? Is it just feeling them out or just trying to, still maintain your sense of control over everything?
I guess just kind of feeling them out, because, when you go to your first event of the year, it seems like you never know what everybody's going to do. It's a new year. You never know if they're going to step it up, if they're going to kind of calm it down. You never know with that. So until you get to like week 3, I think you really don't know your caliber of drivers that you're with. But after that, you kind of can expect what's to come from each and every one of them, I guess.
So since 2017, this is your 6th series championship. So 2 points I want to make here. Number one, nobody has ever won 6 series championships in Monster Jam history than you. Do you feel like now, even though you're still in the prime of your career, that you have set yourself apart from everybody else with that simple fact that nobody's ever done that before?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, it's a big deal, obviously, winning 6 series championships now, 2 stadiums and 4 arenas, but I don't ever want to settle, I guess. I don't ever want to think that I've ever got to the top of the mountain. So I feel like when people do that, then they kind of get complacent. I don't know. I always just like pushing myself, pushing my equipment, and just making cool stuff happen out on the track.
Where does this championship rank in your career? Is this one, just another one, or is this one a little more special to you? Where does it rank as far as the 6 go?
Oh, this one's awesome. I wouldn't say it's number one. I think last year was probably number one, being on tour with Ryan Anderson. My first Stadium Series championship. That one will definitely be hard to beat, but this one's definitely up there.
So all season long, just absolute dominance from you. You continued to win, whether it was racing, skills, freestyle, perfect events. It felt like you had more perfect events than anybody else I've ever seen, going back to the Superstar Challenge. How were you able to stay on top of this series literally from day one all the way through the end?
The biggest thing is having a good crew guy, and that's what I have with Matt Gahn. He pays a lot of attention to that truck. I don't have to worry about anything. I mean, I could go out there and destroy it the week before, the night before, and I knew every time I got into that truck it was going to be 100%. But another thing that is just reading reading your competitors, and I don't think a lot of drivers do that. But you'll have people that are, they could be good in every single competition. But you got to pick out what they're not good at in all 3 of competitions. You got to figure out what they struggle with in racing, even though they are really good, or 2-wheel or freestyle. You got to just pick them apart and set yourself above everybody else is what I try and do. And, I go out there, I have fun. I try not to think about the points at all. I'm pretty good at it, I would say. For the most part, when I get in the truck, it's not like dwelling on my mind or anything. But I think just going out there and having fun, and not worrying about anything, and making sure you're putting on a heck of a show for those fans, I think that's what really pushes me away from everybody else.
I think the only blemish you had during the season was Tampa. You had one event there where the truck broke on you and you couldn't make it out, and that allowed Tristan to kind of climb back up into the point series. And I just want to focus on that right now, because you were almost like Superman on this series. And I told you off air that this kind of humanized you and sort of put that aspect in that anything can happen in Monster Jam. So what happened that event in Tampa that didn't allow you to get back on the track?
Yeah, we had mechanical problems with the truck. I think we had a blower go out. We were struggling with some power solenoid issues that we couldn't find, and they finally just showed their face. I mean, they were a problem every week up until then. They just never really hindered me that much. But prime example right there is one of those things where I missed the whole event. I think I maybe got a score in 2-wheel that day, but I pretty much missed the whole event, and I could have sat back having a 30-point lead before that day and then losing it down to, a 5-point lead leaving Tampa. I could have just sat there and been like, well, I feel like that's when like the pressure is on for a driver. Like that's a make or break point right there. You can either sit there and get nervous that Tristan was right on my back, or I can just not even acknowledge it, don't even put it in my head, and just continue doing what I've been doing, and have faith in Matt and just keep on trucking. And that's exactly what we did.
Well, you faced adversity, and I think that was one of really the only times you had to this season. But you faced it, and hit a home run out of the park because you went on, won the next event in Tampa. Then you go to Orlando and you get a perfect event. And I know that perfect events in Monster Jam are few and far between. It's almost like a perfect game in baseball. How were you able to consistently be the one driver that any given night can win all three competitions?
I honestly, I just think it's just being consistent and not like racing's one thing, right? I mean, I stay very calm in racing. Um, but it's anybody's race. You just got to be on it. When it's your night, it's your night in racing and two wheel. I'm just going to go out and get as creative as I can. I mean, I don't want to be the guy that does the same exact thing every single time. I may do two bicycles, but they're probably going to be different every time.
Yeah.
And then freestyle, I'm just going to go out and go till that truck won't go anymore. That's the Grave Digger way. So go out and have fun and make sure those fans leave with a smile on their face after freestyle's over.
Well, we are just getting started with Tyler Menninga. Stick around. More Inside Monster Jam powered by Lucas Oils coming up next. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam powered by Lucas Oil. This week, I am joined by Gravedigger's Tyler Menninga as we talk about the 6 Series championship win of his career. Before we move forward, let's talk about racing for you specifically, because throughout the last 2 years, you've rolled off these incredible racing streaks. I think at one point last year on Stadium Blue, you won 20 races in a row. You got into double digits a few times this year. You've become this enigma on the racetrack to where now some drivers I've heard even say they don't care if they win racing. If they beat you, it's like winning the Super Bowl. How does that make you feel that if a driver can just take you out one round of racing, they feel like they've accomplished everything that day?
Yeah, that feels good for sure. I just go out and I be as smooth as I can. And that's the biggest thing is the first year I had a stadium tour, I could not figure it out at all. I was hitting the corners wrong. And what I thought was right, what would keep the truck, planted in the corners and not hike up. But there's definitely a different driving style per dirt that you're on too. I mean, if it's slick dirt, you're going to drive a lot different than if it's tacky. And I always say that if you can get out of Houston alive,
Yeah.
that is the biggest thing.
How are you able to figure out the dirt in the corners? Because I know you get 1 or 2 passes in the race lane, but then you get out there and the light goes green and you got to nail it.
Yeah, you go when you get there on Friday, you go check out the track. See, the biggest thing is like a lot of times the turn poles are not even on both corners. So even if the track doesn't rut up or it's a perfect track, I want to finish on the better turn pole side most of the time. So I go look at the turn pole placement, and then that's about all I look at for racing until we do practice. Once we do practice, I feel the track out, and honestly, I don't push it that hard on practice day. I feel the track out, but I don't want to crash the truck on Friday and make Matt stay up all night working on it. But my goal every event this year was not to win racing. My goal every event was to qualify in the top 4. The top 4 get the automatic bye to the second round. So that was my goal, is to make the top 4 qualifying times every week this year. And we did it a lot of the time. So I was happy with that.
You had to square off with Tristan England in JCB Digatron all season long. He gave you a run for your money at certain points in time. This is a new stadium rivalry, but you both are no strangers to each other on the Triple Threat Series. So talk about this reignited rivalry that you have now with Tristan.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't really say it's a rivalry. I guess I'm kind of a rival with anybody that I'm racing or competing against. But he's an awesome driver, and it felt good to take him down this year. I will say that.
With all the accolades that you've been accomplishing and your dominance on the track, do you feel that right now you are the best driver in Monster Jam?
Not a chance.
Okay.
I feel like I've had a lot of success in my career and a lot lately, but I would say bad luck's got to come at some point. Like I got to run out eventually. I was just talking with somebody the other day about World Finals next week, and I was like, man, I hope my luck doesn't run out, because I feel like it's been pretty high lately. But no, I mean, obviously, if you look at Ryan and Adam Anderson, those are, in my opinion, the best 2 drivers in Monster Jam. I would definitely not say the best in Monster Jam yet.
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of people would disagree with you in that, but I appreciate your humbleness and your humility there. There's been some spots in your career where you did struggle, but you have overcome those. You talk about bad luck and overcoming that. But Angel Stadium was a place that you couldn't seem to win. And then last year you won like crazy there. And then World Finals, you couldn't seem to win a world championship after all the success during the season, but you got one there. So I don't know that your luck is going to run out anytime, man. I think you've overcome this and figured out your formula.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, going into LA, I'd love to win another championship, obviously, but man, I'm still hungry. Like I got my first championship, but I'll be honest with you, it's not to I guess throw any shade at the two wheel skills competition or the high jump competition because those are awesome. But to me, like the real world championships out there are racing and freestyle. So until I get one of those, I'm not going to be happy. I could win a million two wheel skills championships and it's still not going to equal one racing competition.
I was going to ask you that, but you threw it right there. So I appreciate the honesty. We will touch on that. We're going to talk about World Finals next with Tyler Menninga right here on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. I'm Scott Jordan. I am joined this week on the Great Clips Hotline by Stadium Championship Series East champion Tyler Menninga. Let's talk about World Finals. Before we get to LA, let's go back to Nashville 1 year ago. You qualified 20th last year. How important is qualifying to you? Because it's a big deal, I know, to some drivers, and some drivers just don't care where they're at in the bracket.
Man, it's hard. I love having that automatic bye run and that automatic to round two. I mean, just because that's one more race you don't have to run, right? I mean, why wouldn't you want that? So the top 8 is definitely something I always strive to be in. Last year, I don't know what the deal was. I ran like 3rd fastest in practice and then ran the same pass in qualifying, and I don't know what I did wrong. But yeah, I think it's important. I think qualifying is very important for the World Finals.
And after the season you had last year, a lot of people had you as the heavy favorite to win the racing championship. You were not able to compete in that. So what happened for you there? And has that kind of stuck with you all year about getting back to World Finals and getting some redemption?
I wouldn't say it's really stuck with me about getting redemption. It's obviously a different track. So, I mean, if we were still running in Vegas and it happened like that, then yeah, I would definitely be dwelling on it and look for a little redemption. But no, we actually went out for two wheel skills, got my championship there, but lost a transmission and didn't know it until intros for the racing segment. So they tried as hard as they could. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough time. It's a bummer, but like me and my crew chief Matt were saying later in the year, I think Superstar Challenge kind of made up for kind of a lackluster World Finals last year. So
yeah, perfect event at the Superstar Challenge, man. And maybe that is a preview for World Finals here. Let's talk about freestyle. A year ago, you finished in the top 10, which is solid based on the competitors that you were facing off. How can you build on that top 10 finish to try to climb onto the podium?
I've been kind of the guy to somewhat take it easy in the past, and not really take it easy, but like I'm bad about not pushing myself. A lot of times I'm worried about truck damage. I'm worried about Matt working on the truck overnight. But this year, I've just kind of not cared. Like I have not cared about it. And I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone and have that controlled, skilled driving. But yet I want to be out of control more than I ever have been, and pushing the envelope, pushing myself. And Matt was all for it. So that gave me a lot of confidence this year. And I feel like freestyle wise, this is probably my best year, just for crazy stuff happening on the track. So if I can take that on Saturday night on May 18, I think I'm going to be walking away as a world freestyle champion. But time will tell. I mean, obviously, different track, nobody's ran it, and you never know. I mean, everybody always rolls all the dice at World Finals, so maybe I will have to step it up a little bit.
Well, you get 4 opportunities to win a world championship, so let's talk about that, man. You and Ryan Anderson are the only 2 drivers in all 4 competitions. So you were in 3 1 year ago. Now you have the high jump thrown in there as well. How are you going to be able to pace yourself through 4 competitions on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I actually was against doing the high jump for the longest time because it just looks like it would be miserable. But after watching it a couple years, I'm like, okay, that looks like it could be pretty fun. As long as you hit the jump right, get your air control right with the brake, I think it'll be a lot of fun. But I don't think it's really necessarily about pacing yourself. It's more about pacing the truck more than myself, I guess. So as much as I want to go out there and do the riskiest 2-wheel move, it's probably not the smartest idea. I want to be able to compete in all 4. If I think I can pull off a really risky move without damaging the truck a lot, I will go for it. But I do want to at least be attempting the high jump this year. That I'm excited to do that.
And with the high jump, Ryan Anderson is a two-time defending champion there. He's taken a different approach. He has done the brake check, and he always talks about timing the brake check and floating the truck up. Are you going to try to take a page out of that book? Because it was amazing to me last year how many people did not try to emulate what he did to win the previous year, and he won it again.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what Ryan does almost every time that he's on the track, actually. So, no, a lot of drivers think that if you know, I get what they think. They jump nose high, they hold it wide open. I get that makes sense, but at the same time, if you can get the whole truck up as high as it can possibly be, that's obviously going to be better. So, kind of lobbing the truck up and hitting that brake and getting everything leveled out. Not only that, it's a way better landing on the driver too. So it's easier on the truck, it's easier on the driver. Whether I win or not, I definitely don't want to have a hard landing in high jump.
It's busy, going to be a busy day for everybody out there. Busy week. You guys have meetings, practice, qualifying, press conferences, the whole 9 yards. And not only do you have to compete in 4 competitions, but it's the largest pit party of the year. And Monster Jam is all about fans. So you're going to have to take some time for the fans. How important is that to you to be able to put Tyler Menninga, the competitor, to the side, to be Tyler Menninga, you know, the driver that all these kids look up to?
It's awesome. I mean, for those fans that come out there, they're the diehard fans that come to the World Finals, and it is the biggest pit party of the year. But I will say, being in 4 competitions last year, it was a good, I guess, mix of signing autographs, greeting the fans, and then having a little time to focus on what you're doing as well. So being in 4 competitions and signing autographs seems overwhelming, but it really wasn't. In the 3 competitions last year, it wasn't, and that was pretty nice to be able to go out, see the fans for a little while, then go take care of business, then maybe come back out. And it just depends on how the day goes. But no matter what, our super fans will be at the charity event, the banquet, the pit party. So we'll get to see all of them no matter what.
All right, we're going to have some fun right now. I'm going to get predictions from you for all 4 of these competitions. We're going to do it on a number scale. Tyler, when we talk about racing 1 through 24, where you're going to place when it's high jump and skills 1 through 8. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Tyler Menninga, where are you placing in the high jump competition 1 through 8? Go.
Number 2.
All right. Great Clips 2-wheel skills challenge, defending champion. Where are you placing there?
Number 1.
All right. I love that. 2-time champion already. The racing competition, 24 competitors. We know 23. The 24th will be decided on the last chance qualifier. Where does Tyler Menninga walk out of LA in the racing competition?
Realistically, I'd hope to be in the top 4, but I really want to win that one.
All right. So are we going to...
I'm hoping. We'll just say number 1.
Number 1. Tyler Menninga is a 3-time champion on this. All right. One last competition to go. Freestyle 1 through 24. Where do you finish?
Number 1.
4 times. Listen, man, don't sell yourself short on high jump. Let's go 4 number 1s here. You had a perfect event.
If I win every competition on May 18, I am hanging the hat up.
My friend,
I'm retiring.
There'd be nowhere else for you to go at that point. Perfect event, the Superstar Challenge.
I mean, as much as I'd love to be able to do that, there's no way it's going to happen.
Well, listen, man.
I just have to have that confidence in my head that I am going to finish number 1 every time. And I have to put that confidence in my head. Otherwise, I think I'll fall apart out there. But
I like that.
Realistically, who knows? I hope to win at least 1. But it just has to be your day. That's the biggest thing. The dice have to be rolled right, and everything's got to align just how it needs to be for you to win something.
There's been a lot of days in the last 2 years that have been your day, my friend. So we'll see what happens. Coming up next, your fan questions for Tyler next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. I'm Scott Jordan. I am joined this week by Gravediggers Tyler Menninga, and it's time for your fan questions. You can get involved in the conversation by following me on Instagram as Scott Jordan MJSX. The fans have spoken. Tyler, and Brennan.Jop is asking about Philadelphia. He says, after your success in Philly last weekend, will we start to see more of that level of classic Gravedigger destruction in your future freestyles, as opposed to the incredible array of technicality we're used to seeing from you?
Man, ideally, yes, that would be awesome. The problem is going out and destroying the truck like that every single week would be, I think Matt would be asking for a new driver to crew with, I think, at that point. But I love it like that. That's how everybody knows and loves Monster Jam and loves Gravediggers, growing up with the destruction, the craziness that Dennis Anderson brought to the table. So if I can bring a little bit of that in sometimes,
Yeah.
I will definitely be more up to do that more often.
I feel like you do that as well. I mean, you find a happy medium between that classic level of destruction and the technical skills because it's developed. Monster Jam is developed and evolved, and you have to give everybody something that they want, something they haven't seen. And it's I think it's a little easier to just go and throw the truck into a ramp and see what happens than trying to catch it into a one wheel stoppie. Correct?
Yeah, no, it is. But at the same time, it's like in my personal opinion, you have to have everything. I
Yeah.
mean, it can't just be technical all the time. And that's why I said this year I've been trying to push myself more about getting out of my comfort zone to make the truck do the weird stuff that normally I would just kind of woe up and be like, no,
Yeah.
we're not going to damage this truck tonight. But not that I go out and, plan to destroy the truck at any point ever. Trying to push the envelope of the sport and myself and just, what would happen if I hit this jump this
Well,
hard at this angle?
I think Matt likes to win just as much as you, so I don't think he's going to want a new driver at any point in time. One more question for you. Alex Bear _ says, you're never afraid to push the limits of your truck, having become one of the most innovative drivers in the sport. Growing up as a fan and watching the sport, has there been a driver or drivers that have influenced your style of driving, which you try to emulate?
I would say growing up watching Dennis was who one of my favorites. Obviously, Gary Porter, Tom Mentz, watching those guys. But now I would say like I take me and Ryan have like very similar driving styles, but they are so different at the same time. So man, it's hard because like if I'm at an event that Ryan's at and he goes out before I do, I know I can watch what he's doing and somewhat try and I guess if he's hitting a jump a certain way and I watch what he's doing, I know that I can hit that jump the same way. Whether somebody else goes out there, they may have used different throttle technique. They may have used, hit at a different angle. All that stuff comes into play. But I would say like, if I had to sit down and like watch somebody figure out how the track's going to throw the trucks, it's definitely Ryan.
All right, Tyler, next time I have you on, you might be a 5-time world champion, man. So best of luck to you in LA, and I'll see you there.
Thank you, man. I'll see you guys out there. Thanks for having me on today.
You got it. I'll see you folks right here next time on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil.